My name is Helen Margaret Whitmore, and I am 94 years old. People ask me sometimes if I regret not telling my children everything about my past, but some stories are too delicate to touch until your hands are old enough not to tremble. This is one of those stories. It was 1943. Boston was heavy with wartime tension, newspapers filled with headlines, mothers waiting by radios, and ration lines curling around corners. I was 18, working part-time at the public library while helping my mother care for my 2 younger brothers. Books were my escape. The library felt like the only place untouched by fear. One cold November afternoon, while shelving books in the history section, I heard a soft thud. A book had fallen from the top shelf and nearly hit someone. "I'm so sorry," I began, reaching for it. Then I saw him. He was tall, slender, with dark hair neatly combed aside and round glasses that made him look thoughtful, almost fragile. He knelt to pick up the book at the same time I did. Our hands touched lightly. He froze. I froze. The world froze. He smiled gently. "I believe this belongs to you." I blushed. "It belongs to the library, actually." He laughed softly, and I swear something warm bloomed in that quiet aisle. His name was Thomas Everett Caldwell, 21, a Harvard literature student preparing to enlist. He came to the library every day for quiet, to think about the world he might not return to. We began talking, hesitant at first. He recommended books. I recommended courage. He told me he feared not dying, but dying before doing anything meaningful. I told him meaning is rarely loud. It's often found in small places, like libraries. 2 weeks later, he asked if he could walk me home. I said yes, pretending not to be terrified by my own happiness. We walked slowly through snowy streets, our breath rising like tiny ghosts. He carried my books, even though I insisted he didn't need to. He looked at me like I was something precious, something bright in a world dimmed by war. At my door, he hesitated. "Helen, may I see you again, properly, not between bookshelves?" I nodded, unable to speak. Our first date was a walk along the Charles River. The world was quiet, the water frozen at the edges. He read me a poem he wrote, shy, trembling, heartfelt. I had never been adored like that. We met every day afterward, in the library, by the river, on park benches where he read Shakespeare aloud, badly but beautifully. He told me he loved me one evening under a flickering street lamp. "Helen, it's too soon and it's too dangerous to feel this much, but I do. I love you." My eyes filled with tears. "I love you too, Thomas." He kissed me, soft, careful, like he was afraid I might break or disappear. For the first time in my life, I felt entirely, fiercely alive. But war does not negotiate with love. In January 1944, he received his deployment orders. He would leave in 6 days. We met at the library after closing time, sitting in the silent reading room surrounded by thousands of stories, none as painful as ours. "I don't want to leave you," he whispered. "I don't want you to go," I breathed. He held my face in both hands. If I come back, will you marry me? I felt my heart lurch. Yes, I whispered. If you come back, yes. He rested his forehead against mine, trembling with relief. Then he pulled a small envelope from his coat. Don't open this until I'm gone, he said. I promised. His last night in Boston, we stood outside the train station under a sky swollen with snow. He hugged me so tightly I could barely breathe. I'll return to you, Helen, I promise. The whistle blew. He stepped onto the train, turned, looked at me one last time, and the doors closed between us. I watched the train disappear until it became nothing. I waited. I wrote letters. He wrote back. At first, often, then less frequently as the days grew harder for him overseas. In his last letter, he told me he kept my photograph in his breast pocket for every patrol. He wrote, "You are the calm in the chaos." Then the letters stopped. I hoped. I begged God. I prayed until my knees ached. 3 months later, a military officer visited our home. My mother answered the door. Then she looked at me with eyes full of apology. My world went silent. Thomas had died in combat. His belongings had been lost. There would be no body to return home. I went to my room, locked the door, and finally opened the envelope he'd given me. Inside was a simple piece of paper with just one sentence. "You are my greatest story, Thomas." I pressed the letter to my heart and cried until dawn. Life moved forward because it had to. My brothers grew. My mother grew weary. I met a good man years later. We raised a family. I found peace, but a soft, fragile part of my heart always whispered his name. Even now, when I walk into a quiet library, I half expect to hear a book fall and see him standing there, glasses crooked, smiling at me in that gentle, unforgettable way. If I could speak to that 18-year-old girl between the bookshelves, I would tell her, love him, even if you lose him. Some loves are meant to last only a moment, but they echo for a lifetime. That is my story, the story of the young man who read poetry badly, loved me beautifully, and became the chapter of my life I never stopped rereading.